Trevor Owen, CFA Assistant Chief Officer for South East Region, and today I'm joined with Lee Bostock.
G'day.
Familiar with Lee? Lee was part of the strike team facing the Bunyip State Park fire over the course of the last few days, Lee.
Yeah.
And it's been really challenging on a lot of people, hasn't it?
It has been very challenging for, I suppose, the people that live there and all the crews that are working up there under tremendous pressure. We were on Sunday, so yeah, it's challenging for everyone up there.
Yeah. Because I've known you, Lee, I reckon, for the good part of over 20 years when I started as a firefighter at Springvale. We've had a great relationship and I've got a great respect for you and
Correct.
many volunteers who have built up a great deal of depth of skills and experience. And, you know, the things that you face when you go out as a strike team leader, not a lot of people would understand that unless they've been in that situation like you.
No, that's correct. It's, you know, the situation we were faced with on Sunday was probably one of the toughest that I've been in. We were encircled by fire and the crews were locked in there for the day. So we had to make a lot of tough decisions on properties and sheds, and but overall the welfare of my crews are the first and foremost in my mind, that we're all coming home safe no matter what.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and the people, the public, general public, don't realise, you know, what we're doing out there.
Yeah.
And the decisions we've got to make. Do we save this property or not? You know, the sheds are burning, let them burn, save the property. So
yeah, because I attended many of the community meetings, and I'd have to say the community meetings were overwhelmingly supportive of CFA, as were the other agencies, Forest Fire Management Victoria and the Metropolitan Fire Brigade and SES and all the agencies that were really doing their bit under what was really stressful. And that fire, I mean, that came racing out on a massive fire front. And even though we had 110 fire trucks, 15 aircraft in the sky, including the large air tankers and the air cranes, and we threw everything we could at that fire, didn't we?
And we did, and it was so intense. It burnt probably not as fast as Black Saturday, but it's burned as hot as Black Saturday, and that was due to the winds not being as strong as the Black Saturday, but it burned as hard, and it took out everything in its path.
Yeah.
You know, we could only do what we could do. We were 5 trucks and 1 command vehicle, and no one else could get to us. So we were stuck there and stuck fast, and the people on those crews just did an amazing job.
So explain that. So you were tasked at going in and doing asset protection, protecting people's homes and whatever you could.
Correct.
So you were. How did that work? You were given a street to go down, and
no, our first task was actually to go to the winery.
Okay. So
we were tasked to go up to the winery in that area, which we weren't that far away, but we come to the corner of Tonimbuk and Jolly Road. We were going to continue on Tonimbuk Road, but the first fire front jumped straight in front of us, so I couldn't send the trucks any further.
Wow.
That was it. You know. I pulled them back, and we weren't going to get through. The fire was that fierce.
And when you say fire front, what does that look like for most people that wouldn't
ball
experience
fire,
it? Yeah,
really,
okay.
And it's the trees are just igniting in front of you. So where we actually stopped, that's where the front come through, and it just lit up.
Yeah,
that was it, and that was the first fire front. That was only a very minor one, but it blocked the road.
Yeah.
So we held back. I had, obviously, as you know, I had no communications back to 28. So I had to go through Vic Fire saying that, you know, we just had a fire front going through in front of us. I need aerial support, which we didn't get because too smoky. Can't get anyone there, and I don't know what was around. So I decided to set up on Jolly Road and Leask Road and Tonimbuk Road, which are all pretty close to each other. There was 8 properties. I went and did the risk assessment on each property that, you know, I thought was safe for our crews to be on, and that's what I got to do. My priority is safety of the crews.
Yeah.
So I went down to one property, which was Leask, and there was 2 residents still at home. I advise them to get out and go now, otherwise within 10 minutes it's going to be too late. They said no, we're staying, and I said okay, so I went out and we were organising my trucks to go into Liask onto this property. And as I took them down, well, they went in front of me actually, as we got there, their driveway was alight.
Right.
So literally we had 10 seconds to get in that driveway and start protecting that property. And the two trucks, which was Hallam and Blind Bite Warneet, got in there and they saved that property and the people on it.
And when you say the driveway was alight, because of the...
Long driveway, trees either side.
Yeah.
So the fire had just started on their driveway. And these trucks just went bang, bang, and they got in there, and you're talking about $1 million property.
Wow.
It's massive.
Yeah.
You know, so he had 3 antique cars in there, which the boys got out of his shed down below because of fire all around, and they put up between the trucks to save those cars as well. I advised Hallam, I think it was, to make sure when that front really hits, to put the residents inside and then not to come out. Stay inside, stay safe. So that's what they did, and that's where Hallam and Blind Bite Warneet were for the rest of the day. We couldn't get them out of there.
Yeah.
They were stuck in there. They had fires all around them. They had a beautiful old tram car down in the valley below them, which I actually got another truck to in eventually to save that. But the track to Liask, or the road in Liask, all the trees had fallen over, massive trees, and they were stuck there. That was
big gum trees or
big
something
gums,
like that.
they were massive. Yeah.
Okay.
So
they've
guys,
fallen down on all parts of the road.
Yep, blocked off.
And how many trucks did you have in protecting that property?
2.
2, yeah.
Start, yeah. 2 trucks, and they did an awesome job. You know, if we hadn't got those trucks in there, I would have said that property would have gone. It was surrounded by trees.
And how do you go as a strike team leader? Like, here you are, you've got a team of, really 20, 25 people, firefighters. You've got your 5 tankers plus yourself in your vehicle as a strike team leader's vehicle.
Correct.
What sort of decision making do you have to make? You've got all this property, you're trying to protect as much as you can. Like, that must be pretty tough, I'd reckon. Like,
it is
making the call.
It is tough, but you got to be on your feet and just make decisions based on your experience and training, which I've had plenty of experience and training from good people over the years, and I base it all on that. What I see with my eyes is the decisions I make. Yeah. If it wasn't safe for me, it's not safe for anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have to be quick, snap decisions sometimes, and you know, you're on the go all day, and we were that Sunday. Sometimes you get a rest. These guys and girls did not rest until 8 or 9 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
So I try to get a vehicle to go and have a break, a fire would break out. Sorry guys. And they never questioned me, they never asked me anything. They did what I asked them all day. Yeah. So
wow.
It was just incredible. Great bunch of people, and geez, I'd take them all the way again anyway, because they did their job, what I asked.
So you were telling me the other day that you were stuck in there. Like, you went in there early on the day, you'd had breakfast, you were tasked, you went in there, you protected as much as you could, and then you couldn't get out.
We could not get out. We were surrounded by fire. So that first front come through, 8:30, somewhere around that, and then the main fire front come through, and that's when it hit us directly. So we were on another property, which I went and asked the girls to bring the vehicle up to and park between the 2 trucks. Yeah. Because we needed protection. We don't have a order on the FCV. Yeah. So we parked between them, and that's when it hit. There was 3 houses on this property and about 10 sheds. We saved 1 shed. The rest were lost because my main concern were the 3 houses. Yeah. And they saved the 3 houses. Yeah, wow. Lost all the sheds except for 1.
So you saved all 3 houses.
Correct.
And they're obviously the priority. Like, a person's home is their, it's all their homely possessions, their life and everything.
Correct.
So you've saved the most critical things.
Yeah, and if you went up there and see where the fire come to on those houses, it was just a fantastic save, because they were under pressure with these sheds going, and the sheds were fairly close to the properties. So it was a bloody good save. Yeah. Bloody good. Yeah. And I had Berwick down below on another 2 houses in Jolly. The fire come right up to the house, and they had hit the fire all around, and not one bit of that house got touched.
So I mean, the loss of anything under those sort of conditions, with fire that's, you know, on a strong northerly wind day, hot, dusty, smoke-filled environment, can't see anything because the fire front. So we're advising community they should have left. You know, that was the, you know, safest thing to do so. So the community's going away from the fire front. They're protected. They're going to somewhere safe. And firefighters like yourself are leading teams, volunteers and staff are coming into the wall of fire, so to speak, to protect property where it's safe to do so. Is that?
That is spot on. That's what we do, and that's what we're trained for. So, you know, if the residents ask to leave, it's for a reason, because all hell's going to break loose, which it did. We're trained to a certain extent, I suppose, and to go in and protect their properties and protect ourselves. You know, we know what to do if things turn to like it did on Sunday, and that's what we did. We did it by the book. It was good. They, like I said, these crews without question did what I asked of them. No question back, nothing. They went in and did the job, so, which was quite amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've received some criticism. I'd have to say, as I said before, overwhelmingly the community meetings that I went to, they were praising CFA. Like, we did everything we can. I think that's my take on it, and the community, from the way it was being communicated back to me, understood that we were doing everything we could.
Correct.
But in that, you know, like anything, there are going to be some people that are wrapped with what we've done, and there's going to be others that feel disappointed. Let's be fair. But from your perspective, it must be tough, because as much as from the community's point of view, any loss of any possession or any structure or anything like that, whether it be a home, a shed, vehicles, any possessions of anybody who, we're trying to protect life, we're trying to protect property, but it must really, you know, it affects firefighters, doesn't it? Let's face it. I mean, it's intuitive in who we are. We want to save everything.
And we did, and, you know, I can tell you that later in the day, I actually got across Jolly and Tonimbuk Road, where we couldn't get, and went down that road, and it was where all these large houses had gone. And me personally, you know, it's hard on you because you don't like seeing it. We have emotions as well. We're sorry we couldn't get to these houses, but we were only 5 trucks and 1 FCB. You know, we were waiting for another 2 strike teams to come up there. They couldn't get up because the fire front had already taken. We were encircled by the fire. No one else could get up there. So we can only do what we can only do, and you know.
And so the trees had come down, blocked access, so you couldn't get out, and you couldn't. But I suppose the point is, you trained, like you made the assessment. You had a safe area of which you could. I'm assuming that, so that's what you've basically protected the structures you can, understanding that the support that you've got isn't available because it can't make access to you. And you were stuck for some hours, not being, or more than just some hours, I suppose.
Some hours. It was, say, from 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning when we got up there till we got out of there about 11 o'clock.
Wow. So you hadn't even been able to get back to the staging area or get meals or anything. So
nothing. We had no food left. We had plenty of water to drink, which was good. No food, and we worked up until about 8 o'clock that night before they got their first break. That was it. They worked all day long without a break.
Wow.
So that's you know, saying something about the stature of these people who are up there. They were up there to do a job, and they did the bloody job well. So it was good.
And how do you go making a decision about what you can defend and not defend? You know, like, you've got property all around, you're protecting what you can with what you've got. But what are the things that how do you make that decision, and what are the things that are saying, I can't go in and do that for that property. I'm not going to put my people at risk. Bearing in mind that, we've lived the consequences of Ash Wednesday and Linton, and we've made big improvements in our training and our safety procedures to make sure that our people are safe. Correct. Even though they are, like yourself, volunteers and our career firefighters going into harm's way. Yeah,
look, the decisions I made on the day, I made pretty early, that when we got there and I was looking at the properties and the fire front, that, we were there and there's the edge of the forest and it was coming through, and I knew we were going to get smacked. And decisions I made straight off was Liask, where the 2 residents were, because if they had perished in the fire, I couldn't have lived with myself. Yeah. So that was definitely the first one. The property was defendable. There was a nice clean area around, but with the ash and embers falling everywhere, and the large trees at the back of the property, they're pretty certain that wouldn't be here today. So that was my first priority, as to property and lives. I wish they had gone, but you want to save your properties. It's human nature, really, isn't it? So they stayed, so that was my first priority. And like I said, with 10 seconds to spare, we got our trucks in there. Another 10 seconds, they wouldn't have got in there. The other property we're on had 3 houses, all pretty close together, actually, and all the sheds. It was a no-brainer for me. We saved these houses. They're people's houses. At least they got somewhere to come back to and live. Their sheds, I would have loved to save them, but I couldn't. We had only 2 trucks there fighting, and that front had come right up that hill, so we just took out everything in sight.
Wow.
So they also had cows on the property, which I got one of the trucks to run a water edge around the herd of cows, so the fire just went past the cows. So
wow.
We're not only thinking of properties, but the cattle that were
the livestock
on.
So as the fire's coming down, you've
the fire was coming up over the hill, and the cows were just over the hill after the driveway. And I did ask Cranbourne, which had Tony Bostock as the crew leader on, to go down and drop water around those cows, so they're not going to get burnt, and that's what he did. And they were all still standing in that spot that he watered. So and then the fire raced off down through the paddocks. Down below, there were 2 houses. The first house was defendable, open paddocks around, but the trees around again. We saved that one and saved all these sheds. There was one a bit further down Jolly Road. We lost the shed on that property. The property could have been cleared a bit better. It had a lot of growth around the house. We saved that. We got horses out of one paddock into another paddock because the fire was racing up the thing. So I actually jumped out of the car and opened the gate and herded the horses in. So So we're still. It's all about, even animals up there we're trying to look after as well. Not just everything else. So
So where did you fill from? Where did you fill your water from?
Cranbourne and Devon Meadows had actually run out of water on the top of the hill part where the 3 houses were and all these sheds. So down below, I don't know, probably 50 metres away, there was a massive shed and it was going like stink. But next to this massive shed were 2 plastic 2,000 litre tanks. So I cut all the wires on the fence, went down in the FCV, had a look. There's a big cot with the thread on it. That's where we got our water from, with the shed burning next to it. So, and that's the only place at that time we could get water. So we hooked up everything and we got water out of there. And that's where we got our water from. Hallam were filling up out of an indoor swimming pool. So we opened up the windows and they put their draft line straight through there, and that's the only place they could get water on that property with the 2 residents still at home. So there were dams around, but we couldn't get to them because of the fire. So we had to think on our feet what we were going to do.
So what do you, when people, because you know, some property is defendable and you're in there and you're protecting, and you hear people concerned because you've got to immediately pack up. The fire front's still coming in their direction.
Yep.
You can understand how the community can go, well, what are you doing? You're leaving.
Yep.
But you're packing up your hoses, you're packing up your gear, and there's not a lot of time to have a conversation about what you're doing because you've been given, I suspect, some orders.
Yep.
What's that usually? Why would that occur?
Well, if we had to pack up our hoses and get all our gear together really quickly, it's probably because we're in danger most of the time.
Yeah.
Or other times there's been a call to someone that needs our help, and there's tough decisions to be made. And
so you're trying to make that priority of risk, like there could be immediate life danger
correct.
On a property down the road.
Correct.
And of course, life outweighing property as such, you immediately pack up and make your way down to that. Would that be a scenario?
That's a scenario.
Yeah.
We actually had a call later in the day too, and I can't remember the name of the street, but there was a lady at risk from the fire. She was on the property by herself, and I still don't know to this day whether she was on the property or off the property now because we couldn't get to it. There was too many trees across the road, and we tried our hardest, but so I don't know what happened to her, but you know, that's the sort of things that happen, and I had to have a truck pack up and come with me. But we couldn't reach it. There was trees, massive trees all down over the road we were trying to get up. So that's.
So how does it feel when, from a your perspective, when there's the media, they're obviously out there trying to drive a story for whatever agenda that they may have.
Yeah.
Because as I said earlier, the community meetings I've been to overwhelmingly, they were supportive of CFA. Everywhere I've been, they've been, by and large, the public have been hugely supportive of the work that we've done. But when that criticism's laid, how does that feel? Like you took it to heart the other day and you rang the media because you needed to express from your point of view that feeling.
Correct. The media, look, and I did because the job my people did was outstanding, and I wanted the people to know out there that they're out there working hard, not as the media portrayed that we were sitting on our arse, and I'll say it, doing nothing. It's totally wrong. And they're still pushing that, that's what we were doing. We weren't doing that. We were saving life and property. And if someone sees trucks sitting up on a hill doing nothing, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
I don't know of anyone in the CFA as a strike team leader or crew that would sit on the hill and do nothing.
Yeah.
If they were doing it, it's because it's too dangerous for us to go into.
Right.
Simple as that.
Okay.
That strike team leader will not put and shouldn't put anybody at risk.
Yeah.
If he or she thinks it's too dangerous to go into, that's the decision you make, and you stick by your decisions you make on the fire ground. And that's the way it has to be. So for someone to come out and say that, they're totally wrong in their thoughts, and probably need to spend more time out in the fire ground and see what really goes on.
Yeah.
You don't put yourself in danger, simple as that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
As much as we would love to come down and save that property, if it's going to put our lives at risk or danger, we're not coming.
I mean, you can't replace human life, and when I think of it, what we expect of our volunteers and career staff, putting them into harm's way. As I said earlier, we, for good reason, public and community, we're encouraging to go to a safe area, leave early, and get yourself out of that danger. And then we've got to come in and make that assessment, as you spoke about earlier. Position the crews, so driving into the fire front that's coming, where it's safe to do so, and then position crews so that they can protect as many of the assets like homes and buildings and sheds and everything, cars and things like that, as much as you can. There must be a lot going on, like from a strike team leader's point of view, thinking about all the safety considerations. Can you do it? So a dynamic risk assessment. Can I do this? Can I achieve that? Am I putting my people in the right position? Have they got enough that they can come out, protect themselves? Is there enough water? Have I got good comms in case I get into trouble? And you've got trees coming down around you, smoke-filled environment, flame coming. And
exactly right. And those decisions, you have to do your risk assessments really quickly. Everything happened so quickly on that day that you had to make your decision, bang, and stick with it. And that's what I did. To the credit of my crews, like I said before, didn't ask any questions, they went and did it.
Yeah.
But every assessment I made on the risks is the risk to my crews. That's what I have to think of first, which I did, but I have to make them really quickly. And like I said, if the crews I'm going to put into a situation I wouldn't like to be there, I won't put them in.
Yeah.
And that's from training and years of experience of doing strike teams. Yeah. So the more experience you get at it, the better you get at it, I think, anyway.
So, it's stressful, emotional, high tempo environment for us all. Like, the community's been through a lot up there at the Bunyip State Park as the fires come out and impacted into those communities. We're exhausted. We've been through a lot. I think people stress, understandably, and for some people they'll want to perhaps blame, but I don't think we could have given it anything more than what we've got, really. I know
my crews couldn't have given it any more than they got. We were just 5 crews, or 5 trucks. Myself, my driver, my penciler, they went all day. They were absolutely buggered emotionally and physically buggered from the day. And I still am from Sunday. I've been rang by the Casey group to go and do more strike teams, but I'm refusing because I'm not quite ready to go back and do it. Because I'm still emotionally drained from that day, and I'm sure my crews are too. Because
it's taxing. It's not just physical.
No.
Your body's put under an enormous amount of, you're on the go, and you didn't eat for all that time that you were discussing earlier.
We didn't rest.
You're just going from property to property, protecting what you could, filling trucks, and then getting going again.
Welfare checks, are you all right? Are your crews all right? And it just goes on and on all day. It doesn't stop. Sometimes, not in those big fires, you get a break for an hour or something. Nothing like that. Nothing. People need to go up and have a look at the properties and see what these crews actually did, and they'd be amazed.
And I think that's the key, that we focus at times on what's been lost, but when you think of what could have been,
exactly.
We're talking, bigger communities, the Bunyips, the Garfields, the Maryknolls, throughout that whole area, and whilst there's been big impact through Tonimbuk, there's a lot that's been saved, far more than we've lost in that sense.
Exactly right.
It's tragic, and it is as hard as it is for some people where they've lost, and your heart goes out to them. But wow, our people have done some fantastic work when you think about it. That's my impression of it.
And they have. It's just kudos to all the crews off 825 that were there, and they deserve every accolade they get. They're the ones working for me, doing what I ask, and they did it. They did it. But in the end, they all went home to their families and sons and daughters and everything. And that's what you got to think of all day. These people got to get home to their mums and dads and wives and girlfriends, boyfriends. They have to be home because they don't go up there to fight fires to get killed. They go to help the community, do the best they can, to the best of their ability, and that's what they did. And they all went home safe. So that's what it's all about, mate.
So how are you, Tro? There's obviously a bit of concern from a lot of our members because you've recently posted through social media the challenges, because you take it to heart. Your people, you have gone out and done so much to protect as much as you can, and it hurts when some parts of I would say a minority by far, of the community feel as though you could have or should have done more. It's been a bit of a roller coaster.
It has, and we couldn't do any more. It's as simple as that. We could not physically do any more than they did on Sunday. For me, it has just been emotion after emotion, and and I've broken down and cried. I'm going to admit that. Not the tough, big Lee Bostock that everyone thinks I am. I still do have a heart, and Yeah, look, the day of the fire, it was getting overwhelming. I went away and actually had a cry. Got myself back into gear and back into it. And sometimes these things happen, but you keep going and do the best you can. So there you go.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Where the communities. I mean, the whole idea of this, that we had a discussion just a minute earlier about, let's be constructive. I mean, yes, whilst we're receiving some criticism, I think we had a process where we said, well, let's not rebut. I mean, there's no point doing that. We're all stressed, we're all fatigued, we've been through a lot. Firefighters community, we've all given a lot. Understandably, the community may feel in some cases by certain minority groups let down.
Some will, and we're not out to get those. They've got every right to say what they want. But let it be known that these people off every CFA truck that were there are trying to help them, not sit there and do nothing. Believe me, they're there to help you, and that's what we did. And unfortunately, for the few that canvass on the media, that affects every firefighter emotionally. And I know, as you told me today, about the staging area where people were breaking down because of the words that have been said on the media. The media, to me, need to focus on the good side of it and get away from this crap that they're going on with. Look at what people actually did up there, the firefighters. What they say, that's what they need to start focusing on, not the minority.
And if there is any criticism to be laid about anything, there's a time and a place, isn't
Correct.
there? And for community and ourselves that have been through so much, to receive that when we're still actively dealing with fire.
It's a kick in the guts. That's all it is.
And
it affects the people that have been up there doing the work, and you just go, you've got to be kidding me.
Look, thanks for your time.
No worries, thank you.
But the whole idea was that I've known you for so long, and I know you care about this organisation, CFA. I know you care about community.
Correct.
And obviously this has taken a toll on you and everyone to receive some criticism that we have. And I actually don't think that it's coming really from the community. I think it's a bit of a story that's obviously some media outlets, not all, but some feel that they can drive. And I think the outcome of this event will be we've done everything that we can, and in many aspects hoping that it would be seen as a good news story under trying and challenging conditions that really we never want to face.
No.
We have to as a community.
We have to. Right. And it is a good news story for the people off my strike team 0825. It is a good news story for all you guys, because you did an absolutely outstanding job. So well done to all you guys and girls.
Good on you. All right, thank you.
Thank
you for your time. Appreciate it.
No worries, appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing you out in the line.
Appreciate your support and others that have rang me today, because like I said, pushed it on Facebook and it went to the world. I wanted people to know the real story, not the it is that you heard on Channel 7 the other night.
Good on you, Lee.